So Lorenzo Musetti and Dennis Novak, they're facing off in the first round of the Sardinia Open. Now there are two tournaments going on here. So the Sardinia Open is going on, and then Andalusia I think is also going on. So this is the start of the clay season. We're in the start of the clay season after Miami. So this is the new clay tournament going on. Right. Well, it's not new. There actually was an edition last year, and Musetti actually made a deep run. So I guess he has to back up his points. So this is an intriguing match to predict. And also, some more information on it. The defending champion is Laszlo Jera. He's the defending champion, and Cecchinato was the finalist in that tournament. So both those guys are gonna have to back up points. And Musetti made the semis. He lost to Jera, but he had to retire. So this is the second edition of the Sardinia Open. It's happening. I think it starts on Monday. I think so. It's gonna be a fun tournament to watch and see how good these guys are on clay. Well, anyway, let's go with business as usual. Let's get to the prediction. So Musetti, we haven't really started the clay season, so it's tough to know. We don't have any clay results. What I can say is that last year Musetti was good on clay. He did well in Rome. He made a deep run. He lost to Kopfer, but he beat top 10 players in Wawrinka and Nishikori. So Musetti, he knows how to play on the clay. And this tournament is also in Italy, and he's Italian, so he'll probably be motivated playing in his home tournament, getting the fans support. I would even put him as a dark horse to win. He could, because the field is not as strong as maybe like the Andalusia Open. It's strong, but not as strong. And even the players that are good in like that are like the high rank, they're not as good on clay as they are on the hard court. So it may be a good chance for Musetti to make a deep run, maybe even win the tournament. But and that might have already given away what my prediction will be. But what I'll say is that he's did well on clay last year. This year he's had a solid start. He made the semis of Acapulco. He lost to Tsitsipas in straight sets. And in Miami, he made the third round. Then he lost to a seasoned veteran in Marin Cilic. So he's had good results this year. You know, he's considered a prospect for the future. He's considered someone that will. His playing style looks a bit like Federer. You know, his playing style is very, aesthetic to watch. It's very beautiful to watch, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing more from this guy in the future. But now let's move on to Dennis Novak. Now, Dennis Novak, I haven't really seen his clay court record. The only time I remember is when he lost to Sasha Zverev in the first round of Roland Garros last year. But let's just base it off of this year's results. He played at the ATP Cup. He played two singles matches. He beat Fognini in straight sets, so a good win for Novak. And he lost to Mahut 6-7, 2-6, and he would have been disappointed with that match because Mahut is older and now he's not as good as he used to be. He's more concentrating on doubles, so that would have been a disappointing loss for Novak. But so far he has done well at some of the events. He did well at the Open Sud de France. He reached the quarterfinals. He did well. He lost to Gaston the Open 13. And in Dubai, he lost to Popper in a straight set. So it's going to be interesting. He hasn't played, I guess, since he's had a little bit of a long layoff. He hasn't really played since March 14th. So he is coming off a long layoff. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Because we've not really seen him on clay that much. At least in the major. I've only seen him in like Roland Garros, really. I've not really seen him much on clay. So I'm going to be... Right, I think he's mainly played lower clay events, like Challenger Tour events. I've never really seen him on the main tour, except in Roland Garros last year. That was when I really saw him, when he lost to Zverev. Now, Lorenzo Musetti and Dennis Novak, they've never met, so their head-to-head record is 0-0. So, basing it off the results, and basing it off that Musetti has, he did well in Italy last year. He did well in this tournament last year. He did well in Rome. He clearly loves playing in front of his fans. He clearly loves playing. I'm not sure what the fan limit is right now. I'm not really sure what the capacity in this tournament is, but I know that he likes playing in his home country. That's what I know. And based off that, I'm going to pick him to win this in straight sets. I don't think it'll be easy because Novak could put up a little bit of resistance. He is a good player, but I've not really seen his clay court prowess, and he's not been in actions for some time, so I feel like rustiness will get to him. And I feel that Musetti has been the more active of the two. I think Musetti will win this in straight sets. Because Novak is not he's not played in some time, and as I've said before, and as I've said, I don't really know about him much on clay. So my prediction is Musetti in straight sets. So Marco Cecchinato and Thomas Fabiano, they're facing off in the first round of Sardinia. Now let's go through each of their results first. So Cecchinato has played in a couple tournaments this year. He participated in the Golden Swing. So he participated in all 3 of the clay tournaments, and that's where I'm going to mainly put my focus on now because we're on clay now. So that's where I'm going to focus more. So in Cordoba, he lost to Schwartzman in straight sets. In Argentina, he lost to Laszlo Djere in 3 sets. And then in Chile, he lost to Bagnes in 3 sets. So he's not really been the best of form. Considering that clay is his best surface, we would have expected him to maybe have some better results on it. But he's not really looking like he's doing as well. Like in 2020, he was able to make a run to the final in Sardinia. He made a run to the final at this tournament he's playing now. So, but now he's not really been able to replicate that form because now he's lost. He's only won 1 match on the clay since the Golden Swing. So, and that was I guess an opponent that was even struggling. He wasn't even at his best. So that's something that we have to keep note of. But he is an Italian, and he likes playing. I'm sure he likes playing in front of his home crowd. So as I said, I don't know about the crowd restrictions this year, about with what's going on with COVID and everything. But I know that I think he loves playing in his home country. So this could be a good place for him to turn things around. Now, Thomas Fabiano hasn't participated much on the clay this year. I don't think he has played mainly in challenger events because he hasn't really been able to do well in the main events. But in Miami, he did qualify for the main draw, and he was able to run Idras Bedine. He ran him close, but he lost in 3 sets. So that was an encouraging sign for him as he played decently in qualifying, and he was able to run Bedine close. So it looks like maybe he may be getting back a little bit of his old sparkle. He's upset some top players in the past, but he's not reached those heights in some time. So, it'll be interesting to see if he can do that on the clay courts. Now, Cecchinato and Thomas Fabiano, I don't think they've met before on the main tour, at least. I don't think they have. Yeah, they've never met on the main tour, so it's 0-0. But they have met in some challenger events. They met in 2011 on an indoor hard court. Fabiano won that one 6-4, 6-1. They met in an outdoor clay court in Italy. Fabiano won that one 3-6, 6-3, 6-1. And Cecchinato, they met in Todi, and Cecchinato won that one 6-1, 6-4. So they met in smaller challenger and futures events, but they haven't met on the main tour. So this will be their first meeting happening on the main tour. So going off everything, my prediction here is I think Cecchinato is going to win this one in 3 sets. I think that this is kind of like the battle of the struggling players. These players haven't really done so well, so at least this year, though Fabiano is showing signs of getting back to his old form. But they haven't done so well. But I think that Cecchinato is just more accomplished on clay. Yeah, I think that he will win this because he's just generally the better player on clay than Fabiano is. So my prediction here is I think Cecchinato will win this in 3 sets. And he's Italian, and while Fabiano is Italian too, I think that Cecchinato is going to be able to win this match because he's just better on clay than Fabiano is. So Cecchinato in 3 sets for me. So Gilles Simon, Stefano Travaglia, they're facing off in the first round of the Sardinia Open. Now we're gonna go through each of the results like usual and the head-to-head and all of that. So Simon, he's a very accomplished player. He's a veteran. He's 36 years old now, but he's not the force he once was. He's not as good as he once was. He hasn't, even this season, he hasn't won much. He's only won 1 match, but we all know that he can produce elite tennis on occasion. He can wind back the clock. So we'll see if he can do that here, because clay isn't his best surface. He's not so good on clay. His style suits hard courts and maybe grass courts better. He's not as good on clay as he is on other surfaces. So he will need to rewind. He will need to rewind the clock to even have to be able to win here or have a shot. Now, Travaglia, he's good on clay. This year he was in good form to start. He made a final at the Great Ocean Road Open. He lost to Jannik Sinner in straight sets, but he put up a fight. It was a tight match, and he has won some other matches, I think. Or actually, he hasn't. Sorry. So it was actually the only match he's won. Other than that, he's lost all his other 4 matches since. So he won. He made the final, but after making the final of the Great Ocean Road Open, he didn't really win anything much. But we can also say that he did play a tournament before that in Antalya, and he did make the quarterfinals. He lost to David Goffin in straight sets, so he's not in bad form. He's in pretty good form. He made a final. He made a quarterfinal of the tournament, so he's in decent form, and he's good on clay, as evident with last year. He reached the 3rd round of the French Open in Roland Garros, right? He lost to Nadal in straight sets, but that's nothing to be ashamed of, because Nadal is obviously the greatest clay courter of all time, so it's nothing to be ashamed of that he lost. He did make a good run at that tournament, so we'll see if he can do that here, because he is Italian. There are a lot of Italians playing in this event. He is Italian, and he probably will gain extra motivation from playing at home, so it'll be something to see that can he be able to transition to the clay effectively, and can he bring back his form from early this year to see if he can win here. Now, Simon and Travaglia, they've never met, so their head-to-head record is 0-0, so they haven't met on the tour before. So my prediction here, I think that Travaglia will win this, because Simon is not the force he once was, and Travaglia is good. He was in good form at the start of the year. I think he can bring that back here, because he is good on clay, and Simon is not the force he once was. He's waned out, kind of. He's kind of falling off a cliff almost, right? He can obviously rewind the clock. He can definitely do that, but I think Travaglia is just better on clay even. So I'm going to pick Travaglia to win this in 3 sets. I think that Simon will get a set, but I think that Travaglia will win this in 3 sets. So Joe Souza and Juan Maris Striff, they're facing off in the first round of Sardegna. Now Souza, he is better on clay, but which is good because he is playing on clay now in this tournament. So, but let's go through his results. So he actually didn't participate in the Australian swing. He didn't go to Australia. I don't think so. He started in a challenger event where he lost in the first round. In Cordoba, he then lost in the first round as well. In Argentina, he also lost in the first round. In Chile, he also lost in the first round. In the Mexican Open, he didn't even manage to make the qualifier, so he didn't even qualify. And then in Miami, he was able to win a match against O'Connell in 3 sets, and then he lost in the second round to Humbert, which is a good player. But he lost in the first round in four main draw or 3 main draw tournaments, and all of them were on clay. So he's gonna have to think if he wants to turn this around, it's gonna be a little tough, because Struff is a good player, and even on clay he can be good as well. He reached the 4th round of Roland Garros in 2019, so Struff can play on the clay as well. But Souza, if he has his best chance of turning his not so good form around, the best chance is on clay, because that's where he's the best. So he'll be confident, because while he may be on maybe a losing streak or whatever, this is his best surface. So he can always turn it around. If he even wants to turn his bad form around, it's here that he should try and do that. Now Struff, he has played. I don't think he's played on the clay this year, but he has played in several hardcore tournaments. The first tournament he played in was at the ATP Cup, and he won 2 matches. In the group stage, he made sure that his team advanced to semifinals. Then Struff ended up losing to Rublev, but it was 3 sets, so not a shame, because he did take a set from one of the hardest players on tour. Even though Rublev lost to Hurkacz yesterday, he's still one of the hardest players on tour right now, so Struff taking a set from him is impressive. Then, in the Australian Open, he lost in straight sets. The Open Suit de France, he also lost in straight sets. In Rotterdam, he lost in straight sets as well. And in Dubai, he was able to win the match against Kukushkin. And he ended up losing to Shapovalov in straight sets. And then in Miami, he was able to take a set from RBA, but he lost in 3 sets. So Struff is known to sometimes have those moments where he's really great, but then also have those moments where he's inconsistent, right? Last year, he did well in 2020. He reached the quarterfinals of Cincinnati, and then he lost to Djokovic in straight sets, but then he didn't do so well. Like after like the American swing in the clay courts, he didn't do so well, and then he also then didn't do so well in the hardcore season after that. So he's known to have those moments where he's inconsistent, where sometimes he's not in his best form. He's known to have he's known for some inconsistency. Sometimes he a little inconsistent. Sometimes he plays well, but we'll see if he can start off with a win here. Now Souza and Juan Struff, they have faced off twice actually, if you mind, and they are tied 1-1 in the head-to-head. So Struff won their match on the clay court in the Davis Cup in the playoffs, and in Halle on the grass court, Souza won that one 6-4, 6-2. And they also met in the Challenger event where Souza won that one in 3 sets. It was actually a crazy scoreline, 6-2, 0-6, 6-2. So we'll see what will happen here. So right now, I'm going to pick Struff to win this because I think he's been this year he's shown some form, at least in the first half of the year, and I think that Souza isn't right now in his best form. So I'm going to pick Struff to win this, but I think he'll win it. I'm just thinking that's going to be a tight 2-set victory, in my opinion. I think it's going to be 2 sets. It's going to be tight, but my prediction is that Juan Struff gets the win in 2 tight sets. So my prediction is Struff in straight sets here.